Chapter 3: Types of Fear.
Fear manifests in various forms, ranging from rational fears based on real dangers to irrational fears rooted in exaggerated or imagined threats. Understanding the different types of fear helps in recognizing how these emotions influence behavior and mental health. In this chapter, we will examine the distinction between rational and irrational fear, explore phobias and anxiety disorders, and delve into specific fears, such as fear of failure, fear of success, and social fears, which can deeply impact personal and professional lives.
Rational fear vs. irrational fear.
Fears can be classified into two broad categories: rational fears and irrational fears. While rational fears are based on real, immediate threats to our safety or well-being, irrational fears often stem from exaggerated perceptions of danger, sometimes leading to avoidance behaviors that interfere with everyday life.
Rational fear.
Rational fear is a natural response to a legitimate threat. This type of fear is often tied to situations that pose real danger and require quick action for survival. Rational fears are protective, helping individuals avoid harmful situations or make decisions that prioritize safety.
Examples of rational fear.
Fear of heights, being afraid of standing near the edge of a high cliff or a tall building, a rational fear. Falling from a great height poses a real risk of injury or death, so the fear encourages caution in these situations. Fear of wild animals, a person who feels fear when encountering a bear while hiking in the wilderness is experiencing irrational fear. Wild animals, especially large predators, can be dangerous, and this fear prompts actions like retreating or seeking safety.
Irrational fear.
Irrational fear, on the other hand, is based on imagined dangers or exaggerated perceptions of risk. These fears often persist even in the absence of real threats and can disrupt daily life by causing unnecessary anxiety and avoidance behaviors. Irrational fears are often linked to phobias or anxiety disorders, where fear is disproportionate to the actual danger posed by the object or situation.
Examples of irrational fear.
Fear of flying, aviophobia. Although air travel is statistically one of the safest forms of transportation, some individuals experience intense fear of flying. This fear may prevent them from traveling or cause significant distress, despite there being little real danger involved. Fear of public speaking, glossophobia. Many people experience irrational fear or anxiety about speaking in front of an audience, even when the consequences are minimal. The fear of being judged or making a mistake can trigger a disproportionate response compared to the actual risk of embarrassment.
Example of rational vs. irrational fear.
A person standing on a balcony might have a rational fear of leaning too far over the edge and falling, a real danger, while someone with an extreme fear of heights, acrophobia, might experience debilitating anxiety just being near a window on a high floor, even when there is no real threat of falling.
Phobias and anxiety disorders.
Phobias and anxiety disorders are forms of irrational fear that can be persistent and overwhelming. They often develop through conditioning, personal experience, or trauma, and they may lead to avoidance behaviors that limit an individual's ability to live a normal, fulfilling life.
Phobias.
A phobia is an intense, irrational fear of a specific object, situation, or activity. Phobias can develop in response to both real experiences, such as a traumatic event, or through learned associations, such as observing someone else's fear. Phobias are usually categorized into three main types. 1. Specific phobias. These involve fear of specific objects or situations, such as animals, heights, flying, or medical procedures. Specific phobias often cause individuals to go to great lengths to avoid the feared object or situation. Example: A person with arachnophobia, fear of spiders, may avoid outdoor activities or refuse to enter rooms where they think a spider might be, even when there is no real threat from the spider. 2. Social phobias, social anxiety disorder. Social phobias involve fear of social situations where individuals might feel judged, embarrassed, or scrutinized. Social anxiety can make ordinary interactions, such as meeting new people or speaking in front of a group, overwhelmingly difficult. Example: someone with social anxiety may avoid attending events or speaking up in meetings because they fear being negatively evaluated or humiliated by others. 3. Agoraphobia. This involves the fear of being in situations where escape might be difficult or help unavailable in case of panic. Individuals with agoraphobia may avoid crowded places, open spaces, or traveling far from home. Example: a person with agoraphobia might feel intense fear about going to a shopping mall or using public transportation, believing that they could not escape or get help if something went wrong.
Anxiety disorders.
Anxiety disorders are characterized by excessive fear and worrying that persist over time and affect daily life. Unlike phobias, which are focused on specific fears, anxiety disorders often involve generalized worrying that can affect many areas of life. Generalized anxiety disorder (GAD). People with GAD experience chronic, excessive worrying about a wide range of life events, from health and finances to personal relationships. This constant anxiety can interfere with sleep, concentration, and daily functioning. Panic disorder. This disorder is marked by recurring panic attacks, sudden, intense episodes of fear that include physical symptoms such as heart palpitations, shortness of breath, and dizziness. Panic attacks often occur without any obvious trigger, causing individuals to develop a fear of having future attacks.
Example of anxiety disorders.
Someone with panic disorder may experience sudden panic attacks while driving, even though there is no immediate danger on the road. The fear of having another attack might lead them to avoid driving altogether.
Fear of failure, fear of success, and social fears.
Beyond phobias and anxiety disorders, there are fears related to personal achievement and social interactions that can significantly impact an individual's self-esteem, relationships, and career success. Two of the most common psychological fears are the fear of failure and the fear of success. These fears often influence behavior in subtle ways and can prevent people from reaching their full potential.
Fear of failure, adicophobia.
The fear of failure is a deep-rooted fear of making mistakes or not meeting expectations. This fear often leads to avoidance of challenges or opportunities where failure is perceived as a possible outcome. Fear of failure can prevent people from taking risks, pursuing their goals, or stepping outside their comfort zones. Example: a student may avoid applying to a prestigious university because they fear rejection, even though they have the qualifications to be accepted. The fear of failure holds them back from attempting to succeed in the first place.
Fear of success.
While it may seem counterintuitive, some individuals fear success just as much as they fear failure. The fear of success stems from the anxiety that achieving a goal will lead to increased pressure, higher expectations, or unwanted changes in one's life. People who fear success may sabotage their own efforts or feel uncomfortable with praise and recognition. Example: an employee who fears success may downplay their achievements or turn down a promotion because they worry that greater responsibility will bring new challenges or lead to failure in the future.
Social fears.
Social fears encompass a range of fears related to how individuals are perceived by others. These fears often stem from concerns about judgment, rejection, or embarrassment in social situations. Common social fears include the fear of public speaking, fear of intimacy, and fear of rejection. Fear of public speaking. As mentioned earlier, many individuals experience anxiety about speaking in front of others, fearing that they will make mistakes or be judged negatively by the audience. This fear can lead to avoidance of speaking opportunities, which may hinder personal or professional growth. Fear of rejection. This fear often manifests in personal relationships, where individuals avoid expressing their true feelings or taking risks because they fear being rejected or criticized. This fear can lead to isolation, difficulty forming close relationships, or reluctance to pursue romantic interests.
Example of social fear.
A person who has a fear of rejection might avoid asking someone out on a date, even if they have feelings for that person, because they are terrified of being turned down. Similarly, someone with a fear of public speaking might avoid career opportunities that involve presentations, even though they are qualified for the role.
Conclusion.
Fear comes in many forms, from rational fears that help protect us from danger to irrational fears that can limit our potential and negatively affect our mental health. Phobias, anxiety disorders, and social fears are often deeply rooted in psychological processes and past experiences, and they can have a lasting impact on our lives. By understanding the different types of fear, individuals can begin to address and manage their fears in healthier, more constructive ways, ultimately leading to greater confidence, personal growth, and fulfillment.